Am I the antagonist for commenting to a hotel guest making a second waffle when there was clearly a line of hungry travelers behind her? I was staying at a hotel in Chicago last month with my children, M22, F18, and the place offered free breakfast for guests. They had the usual cereal, juice, coffee, yogurt, and fruit setup. They also had one waffle maker that made one waffle at a time. It was in a smallish room on the 6th floor with about 20 or more people in there. I was hungry but waited patiently in line, as each waffle cycle takes 3 minutes. There was a youngish adult woman ahead of me, and just as she finished removing her waffle and I started stepping forward, she poured the batter for a second waffle, I'm guessing for a friend back at the room. 3 more minutes of standing there as the tables started filling up. I said loudly something like, "A second waffle?" I didn't realize we were doing that. "Another one?" She didn't respond. I let out a sigh and sat down at a table to eat my non-waffle other breakfast food. When she was done, the nice guy who had been behind me tapped me on the shoulder and said I could go ahead and make mine. I thanked him and did just that. Then I thanked him again as I was leaving. Am I the antagonist for saying something and not just waiting, or should she have made one waffle and got back in line for the second one? What if she decided to make waffles for 2 more friends? That's 6 more minutes for everyone standing there. Typing this out, I realized this is one of the most minor situations I've seen here. Smiley face. Yet I'm still thinking about it, so here we are. Really, you're the a-hole. When your children were younger, did you make yourself a waffle, go to the back of the line, wait your turn again, make your one child a waffle, go to the back of the line, wait your turn again, and then make your second child a waffle? I really hope you did, because that's what you are suggesting everyone should be doing. I doubt though you ever did that or applied those rules you've made up in your head to yourself. Of course you're the a-hole. You threw yourself a temper tantrum over 3 minutes. If your time schedule is so tight that those 3 minutes were going to break you, then you need to manage your time better. I'm curious, are you always this insufferable? YTA. This could have been my husband, because I was back at the room taking care of our twin infants. Would it have been okay if she explained why she was doing it? I don't think anyone owes you a justification for making a second 3-minute waffle. I think you were just hangry. Even if the person was super hungry and going to eat 2 waffles, it is so passive-aggressive to make a comment like OP did. I've stayed at hotels like this, and after a few trips, I realized to bring my own waffle iron. I use the hotel mix, but it's such a time saver when you have a group of 4 or 5 in your room. Not necessary, but it's a huge perk when you are money saving and traveling. Am I the antagonist for humiliating my wife on social media to defend my mom? We finally have gone no contact with my mom. It was a long, hard decision, but she and my wife are just fundamentally unable to get along and recently had a vicious fight, and I knew I had to put my wife first. This fight was so bad my mom didn't even protest the no contact. We are just done with each other, but I can't say it hasn't been gut-wrenching. My mom has given her version of the story to everyone, so I get that my wife wants to defend herself, but I hate that she is posting on social media because I find that tacky, and my mom just told people verbally. Anyway, my wife made a couple posts about my mom's behavior over the years, which hey, they were true, but then she claimed my mom wore white to our wedding. She didn't, and she posted a picture to prove it. This picture is not from our wedding. It is from my mom's own wedding, and my wife labeled it the mother-son dance. I was mortified. I don't even care about the white dress, but the man my mom was with was her husband, not me. Face was cropped out, and I felt humiliated. He was holding her very intimately, hand on her lower back, her head buried in his chest. My mom and I would never ever touch like that, and it made me feel ick. Hell, my mom was stiff during the actual mother-son dance. I know some families are more affectionate, but I would just never do that. I asked my wife to take it down, and she refused. I took it into my own hands and comments, "Honey, think you are confused. That's /stepdad's name / remember that was their wedding." She actually wore green to ours and posted the pictures for proof. My wife was furious and deeply hurt. She broke down crying and said I publicly humiliated her and sided with my mom. She said she just wanted a little bit of petty revenge and I should have taken her side. It's been a day and she is still clearly upset. NTA. Your wife is immature for doing that. Why would she post such a thing, not considering your feelings about it, much less your mother's, even if you guys are at odds with her? She deserved being called out. Next time she'll be mindful of what she posts. Wife sounds like a drama queen. NTA. She publicly humiliated herself by acting like a petty teen engaged in a social media smear campaign. NTA. I hope you went NC with your mom based on behavior that you have witnessed yourself because your wife clearly doesn't mind lying and manipulating. You did the right thing asking her to take it down. Social media is absolutely the wrong place to have an argument with your spouse, but your wife was lying about both your mother and you in this post. Since she refused to take down the lie, correcting it there was really the only reasonable option left. This conflict between your wife and mother is clearly out of hand. Going no contact is one thing, you simply ignore each other. Posting malicious lies on social media isn't no contact, it's escalation and terrible, behavior. Am I the antagonist for not wanting my BF's kids to come to my birthday party? Okay, pretty self-explanatory. I, 23, have been the stepmom to my boyfriend's, 30, 2 kids for the last few years. Him and BM trade off the kids every week, so last year, we had the kids, they're 4 and 6, for my birthday. No problem, we had a blast, kept it low-key, and I was fine with that. Well, this year rolled around and I knew it would be their weekend to be with their mom on my birthday. Great, I can plan something with no kids and throw a real party and really relax with drinks and friends and all that good stuff. I'm in my early 20s and I doubt most people my age would feel otherwise. So I decided to rent a really nice place with a pool and just invite all my friends and boyfriend's family, parents, siblings. No kids, seeing as my BF's kids aren't coming either. Well, now he tells me that he's going to have the kids' mom drop off the kids at the rental house on my actual birthday, day 1 of the weekend, and we'll have them for the day/night. I'm really blunt and I told him I was just thinking we could keep it no kids because that was the original plan. Am I the asshole? When we have his kids, I am 100% their mother figure and therefore they need me for everything. I am never alone, my name is always being called, and I just want a weekend, my weekend, where I can let loose and enjoy myself and not have to worry about babysitting. I understand that some of BF's family might come, but I don't see how that's excluding the kids if they were already supposed to be at their designated parents' home for that weekend anyway. Well, now understandably my BF is very upset, and I don't know if it's just the age difference and maybe he's just far more mature than I, but in my mind I sure as hell will be planning occasional kid-free parties/vacations when I have children of my own. Bottom line is, I just want to cancel the whole thing if it means I have to babysit the entire time and not be able to relax for the party/weekend that I'm literally paying for myself. I feel like I deserve it, plus the kids are always fighting/crying and I just do not feel like dealing with that for one time. Am I the asshole? Update. He is genuinely upset with me now, calling me selfish / that I don't know what it's like to have kids / I'm deliberately excluding them / leaving them out of a fun memory / etc. I'm not sure how that's the case if they weren't originally supposed to be there in the first place, seeing as it's their mom's week. Any thoughts? Wait. Info 1. You started dating when you were 20 and he was 27? So the kids were 1 and 3? 2. You do all the parenting when they're over while he watches TV or disassociates on his phone. Do I have that right? My questions: 1. How long after his previous relationship did you get together? 2. What is your relationship with his ex like? 3. What does he do with his kids that doesn't involve you? My impression is that he found someone who was young and naive enough to do his share of the parenting. It seems like he doesn't see you as a partner but as a nanny. NTA. If you two were married and both these children were fully your children, no other parent, no custody agreement, it would still be okay for you to want an adults-only party and/or weekend away. Parents get time that is child-free. Sure, it can be a luxury that not every parent has access to, but for parents that have family/friends that are happy to babysit, aka not expected to, or have the money for a sitter, then great. My parents used to take weekends away a few times a year. Family was happy to have us. We were happy to do fun stuff. You planned this party knowing that the children wouldn't be around, therefore you aren't pushing the kids on anyone, nor are you upsetting any schedule. You laid out a plan that was child-free, and people accepted based on that, and you continue to plan around it. Go back to your boyfriend and be firm. No, this is a child-free party, and you knew that. I planned it on a weekend where the kids wouldn't be with you all, and he should have consulted you before changing any plans. The children can't be there, the end. Then, you can have a chat with him about why he isn't parenting his own children and they are relying on you 100% of the time. You should also consider what staying with this guy and having your own children means. He will not consult you on things. He will make you feel bad when he doesn't get what he wants. He is happy to let you take on his own children full time, and at the very least, you have different expectations of getting some child-free time in. Also, please consider this. He was happy to bring his children to your party because it is easy and a good time for him. His kids get to see his family, he gets his whole family together, he gets to have fun. He doesn't expect to care for his children while they are there because he knows you will, or other family, and he doesn't care if it disrupts the party you planned because it won't impact him and his fun. Oh, on your dime too. Maybe he's just more mature than me. Oh honey, NTA. You planned an adult/no kids activity for your birthday on a weekend. Your boyfriend does not have his children. He had zero business making arrangements to drop his children off at your adults-only party without your knowledge or consent. It's not an age difference thing, it's a mutual respect and courtesy thing, and he was not respectful of your plans or courteous to you. Am I the antagonist for picking up my sister when she didn't want to babysit and causing the parents to lose $250? My F20 younger sister, F15, came to visit our city for a few weeks as part of her summer vacation. She split her time between my place and my aunt's, F30, place. My aunt has 2 toddlers and is currently on maternity leave. While my sister was at my aunt's, she spent most of her time babysitting, unpaid, while my aunt went out to see friends, get her nails done, dates with the husband, etc. Every single day she was there, she was babysitting for between 4 to 8 hours a day. There was one day when my aunt was gone all day, came home briefly, and went back out again for the evening, leaving my sister with the kids literally all day. A few days ago, I asked my sister if she wanted to come to Dave and Buster's with me and some friends. She tells me she really wants to, but can't because she's babysitting again. I told her that she's allowed to decline. She was a bit scared to say no, but yesterday she told my aunt that she can't babysit on Friday, today. My aunt says too bad, they have a dinner reservation at an expensive restaurant and will lose the deposit, $250, if they don't show up. My sister told my aunt that she was exhausted from babysitting, but my aunt basically said sorry, but she has to stay and watch the kids. My sister was disappointed, but didn't put up any more fight. At that point, I decided to intervene and told my aunt I'd be picking up my sister on Friday, and that's the end of it. She sent me a bunch of texts after that, but honestly I didn't reply or even read them. I show up to pick up my sister, and my aunt comes out to my car yelling at me. She says it's not my business what my sister does, and she's staying. I ignored my aunt and saw my sister at the door and yelled over to her to come get in the car. She did. My aunt couldn't believe that she was actually leaving and started yelling at my sister too. My sister looked scared, but I told her to just get in the car. We drove away. They couldn't find a replacement babysitter last minute and ended up missing their reservation and being charged for that cancellation. My mom is with me on this and said I did good for getting my sister out of the house. But another aunt heard about the story and she told me I shouldn't have picked up my sister after Aunt number 1 said she already has dinner reservations. She also said that I shouldn't have intervened and should have let my sister learn to stand up for herself. So now I am questioning if I should have let my sister stay there and learn a lesson in standing up to people, or if I did the right thing. Am I the antagonist for picking up my sister and leaving? NTA. If they can afford a $250 reservation, they can afford a babysitter. Your sisters should not be pressured into unpaid labor so they can splurge. NTA. Yes, of course your 15-year-old sister needs to learn how to stand up for herself. All 15-year-olds do. And you know how they learn that? By having an adult, like yourself, model how to set boundaries and not let them be taken advantage of. She needed you to do this so next time she can do it herself. I'm glad your mom is on your and your sister's side. You did good. You're a great big sister. Your aunt sucks and is cheap AF. If she can afford a $250 deposit for a reservation, she can sure as hell afford to pay a babysitter. NTA, I'm glad your mom is on your sister's side. She should learn to stick up for herself. She's 15 and being taken advantage of by her adult aunt. You did the right thing. ETA's the person who needs to learn here is your aunt, not to take advantage of her niece. She gave your aunt notice that she didn't want to babysit, and they would have had time to organize another one. It is great that your mom is on your side, and I think you did exactly what you should do as a big sister and stood up for your younger sister. Your sister shouldn't be doing all the work for no money. That's just ridiculous. Am I the antagonist for telling my boyfriend that he embarrassed me when he waved me goodbye after dropping me off at work? My F-26 car broke down several weeks ago. My boyfriend Nick M29 drives me to and from work every day, which I'm thankful for. However, he has this habit of waving me goodbye every time he drops me off at work. I mean hand-up waving type of waving. It didn't bother me much at first till one of my coworkers saw him and brought it up to the whole department later to laugh about it. I was livid that day. Nick came to pick me up, and I didn't say anything till we got home. That's when I flipped out and told him that the way he was waving me goodbye like I was some 5-year-old girl embarrassed me in front of my coworkers. He acted confused and said he didn't get what was wrong in what he was doing and was just doing a nice gesture. I told him he should have used some other method like a text or something, but he argued that foremost he's doing me a favor dropping off / picking me up every day using his car and driving the extra 20 minutes to get to his own work. And that second of all my coworkers were rude to think this was something they would get a laugh from and said I should be mad at them, not him, instead of saying I embarrassed him. We argued some, and he stopped speaking to me for the rest of the night. I feel like an idiot. I mean, I appreciate his favor, but to wave at me like I was a schoolgirl really got my coworkers laughing and making me the butt of their weird joking habit. Am I the antagonist for telling him he embarrassed me? Let me get this straight. You have a boyfriend who drives you to from work. He's sweet enough to wave goodbye to you when he drops you off. Your coworkers are jealous of you having a sweet and charming boyfriend who cares about you, so they make jokes about it. You're embarrassed that your coworkers see you have a sweet and charming boyfriend. And you care more about what your coworkers think than what your boyfriend thinks. Does that about sum it up? Yup, you're the a-hole. If I were you, I'd apologize to your boyfriend before he waves you goodbye for good. It didn't bother me much at first till one of my coworkers saw him and brought up to the whole department later to laugh about it. YTA. You are embarrassed not by your boyfriend, but because of what some asshole at work thinks of him. Your loyalties should lie with him, not with a bully colleague. YTA and your coworkers are assholes who need more love in their lives. Go and apologize to your boyfriend. Tell him nicely if you don't want to be waved off. Even then, it's clear the only disdain you have for it is because your mean coworkers take the piss out of it. How ungrateful are you, like seriously? Not to mention, are your coworkers all 5 years old? You have a partner who cares about you and takes care of you and you're offended because he waves? Am I the antagonist for telling my mother-in-law why I'm filing for full custody? My 28 female ex-boyfriend, Mark, 30 male, has a girlfriend, Janet, 32 female. Janet isn't a very family-oriented person and hates kids, which is ironic because me and Mark have a daughter, Cora. Recently, a situation came up where Janet tried to punish Cora by locking her out of the house. We all live around forests, so anything could have happened to her. Cora called me, and I ended up picking her up and calling Mark because Janet wasn't answering the door. I called Mark and told him what happened, and he told me to at least listen to Janet's side of the story. I told him I didn't care about her side because there's no behavior that could allow an adult to lock a 12-year-old out of the house. It's honestly appalling to me. I ended finding out the full story, and my mind still didn't change about how I felt. I talked to my daughter about how she would feel if I were to file for full custody, and she said she didn't care as long as she wasn't around Janet. I told Mark that I was filing for full, and he told his mom, and she started texting me on Facebook furious. Apparently Mark and Janet told a different story than what actually happened and excluded the locking out the house part to make me and Cora look bad. I ended up telling Mark's mom, and she apologized, and from what I was told, she told Mark that he was a horrible father and wouldn't talk to him if he decided to continue the relationship between him and Janet. Mark is now saying that I'm a bad person and a bad mom. My sister thinks that I went too far and the situation could have been talked about. NTA, you're right, and this has nothing to do with where you live. There is no situation that warrants locking a 12-year-old out of their own home. Not ever. That's abuse/neglect. Period. And as someone literally old enough to be your mom, I'm so sorry, because that must have been genuinely terrifying for Cora and horrible for you to hear as a mom. It's one thing not to get along with someone or to have reasonable parenting disagreements, but I cannot imagine how frightening it must be to find out that someone to whom you have entrusted the safety of your child has abused that responsibility so egregiously. You don't need to like Janet or even get along with her or Mark. But you absolutely have a right to know that when Cora is at their home, she is safe. And she is not safe with an adult who thinks that it is appropriate to lock her out at the age of 12. Your right to file for sole custody. This is a safety issue. You are clearly not the a-hole. NTA. She locked your child out of the house. That is not appropriate at all, but especially not as a punishment. Janet did something that endangered your child, and she knew it was unreasonable, which is why she and Mark are lying to everyone. Good for you for protecting your kid, and your daughter's grandmother is a good one. NTA. And if Mark has partial custody, and his GF locked his child out of the house, and he allowed it, I'd have called CPS on both of them. Had anything happened to your child, they'd have been criminally charged. She tried to punish a child by locking them out of the house. That is just simply crazy. Don't let your child near her ever again, because something much, much worse could happen. Every child deserves the right to be safe in their own home. Making sure CPS knows about this could be important.